Defending Vilnius in 1794.
Just imagine, tomorrow the boys in your neighborhood will have to fight against an enemy gang, a bigger and stronger gang. Maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. And you can definitely expect to take a hit to the head. Waiting for a heated encounter like that will keep you awake at night for sure. June of 1794 in Vilnius was a hot and dangerous time, and the city saw very little sleep indeed. Residents knew that the Russian Imperial Army was approaching from the south, determined to occupy their city, an act of revenge against the citizens of Vilnius, who'd risen up against the Russians and driven out their soldiers. So the people of Vilnius took the initiative to defend their city. Day and night, they worked to repair the city's defensive walls by fortifying crumbled sections, carving out new embrasures, and strengthening gates. And just outside the walls, they dug a series of defensive ditches. Most of these fortifications were built in the small hills of LIUKA, not far from what we know today as KRASAUSKAS Cemetery, south of the city centre. 300 to 400 volunteers toiled every day on the fortifications, and as the Russian army drew closer to Vilnius, the number of volunteers leapt to 800. The Lithuanian rebel newspaper, Gazeta Narodowa Wileńska, wrote, "Even highborn citizens can be seen with shovels in their hands. They do noble work. They lay trenches." The Russians eventually attacked Vilnius, outnumbering its defenders by 4 to 1. The air was full of the thunder of guns and cannons, horses shrieking with fear, and the moans of the wounded. LIUKA turned into a landscape of dust, blood, and death. The defenders of Vilnius were able to hold their positions for nearly an entire day, but by nightfall they were forced to retreat. Russian forces occupied the outskirts of the city. A third of the Lithuanian army was killed or wounded in the battle, leaving only 1,000 soldiers and some 1,500 residents to defend the city. The Russians resumed their assault at dawn, directing their hardest blows against the city gates. ARTURAS, Uzupop, Subachaus, Rudninko, and Traku. By midday, Russian forces had penetrated the walls and entered the city, but their advance along narrow streets was slowed by a fierce defense. Vilnius residents shot at the invaders from surrounding homes and churches. Those without weapons hurled stones down upon the soldiers. The next time you walk along Traku, Rudninko, or Audzrosvartu streets, try to imagine how they might have looked back then, cloaked in smoke. The sound of deafening shots, screams, moans, and littered with corpses. One Russian officer later wrote in his memoirs, "Never in my life have I felt such danger and heaviness as on that day. From 7 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I was shot at from guns and pistols, not to mention the stones hurled at me." The officer was so beaten, hungry, and thirsty, he could barely walk and was forced to retreat. That's right, retreat. The Russians were forced to abandon the city since, on the evening of the second day of the battle, Vilnius received reinforcements, the advance regiments of the Lithuanian army. The capital remained free, and its defenders were honoured by volleys of celebratory cannon fire. The residents of Vilnius could not know at the time that barely 1 month later, the Russians would return to occupy their city and control it for the next 121 years.